Hey there, guys. This is Ed, and I'm coming back to you for another edition of Beers and Bots, where I go ahead and showcase out a beer that we're going to try, that I'm going to be drinking during Friday night gaming, maybe a little Saturday night gaming if we get lucky. So, with this week, had the privilege of, actually this past week I should say, had the privilege of going down to Guinness Brewery. So, we're going to be sampling out a beer that I picked up this weekend. And where I got it from, as I said, it's from the Guinness Brewery. Believe it or not, if you don't realize it, there is a Guinness Brewery here stateside. It is Guinness Open Brewery, and they're located just outside of Baltimore. They opened back in 2018, and right now, it is the only stateside Guinness Brewery, and it is the first in more than 60 years. And I say currently, because as found out this weekend during the tour that took, they're going to be opening Guinness. That is going to be opening another brewery here stateside, of all places, Chicago, Illinois. Can't get much more Irish than that. It's scheduled to open by 2023, and Guinness itself is hopefully trying to get it open by St. Patrick's Day. I guess just a little bit, some other info found out. Guinness itself, it's brewed in 49 countries. It's sold in over 150. And I guess a little trivia question for y'all: do you know what the largest market for Guinness out after the United Kingdom? Going to give you a hint. It's not Ireland. Ireland's not even the number two market. They are number three. If you have no idea, and this was kind of news to me, it is Nigeria. Nigeria is actually the largest market outside after the United Kingdom, and they took that seat from Ireland back in 2007. I guess it may sound a little strange as to, for Nigeria to be the second largest consumer of Guinness. But there's actually a few things going for it that may have helped contribute to this fact. First, Nigeria didn't gain its full independence from the United Kingdom until 1960, and I guess as part of that, it's been sold Guinness itself has been sold in one form or another there since 1827, and secondly, probably one of the bigger ones is in 1962 in Lagos. If I'm pronouncing that right, apologies if not, which is the capital of Nigeria. This became the first brewery outside of the United Kingdom. And then there's also another two that exist there in Nigeria. They opened in 1963 and 1973. I guess Africa in itself is pretty important to Guinness for a couple of reasons. Estimates put it at about 40% of the worldwide volume is either brewed or sold there. It's home to two of the top five Guinness markets. Cameroon checks in at number 5 in consumption, just behind us in the US, while it's also home to yet another Guinness-owned brewery. And currently, out of the 6, again 7 when you count in Chicago, Guinness-owned breweries worldwide, 3 of these are in Africa. Ghana is the last of those 3 countries behind Nigeria and Cameroon. And the last place outside of the US and Ireland, it is Malaysia. Malaysia, they've had a Guinness-owned brewery there since the mid-60s as well. So, as I said before, that gives 43 other countries where Guinness is brewed. They don't own the breweries outright there, but they brew it under license in those countries. I guess getting back to our brewery here, our stateside, our Baltimore brewery, this is an experimental brewery. We're not going to find the iconic Guinness stouts that everyone knows and loves. Those are going to remain brewed at St. James's Gate. What they did set up in there, I think it was in the mid 2000s. I gotta go back and look. I don't remember that, but they set up an initial experimental brewery at St. James's Gate. And this is where most people will come in and they'll take the tour. I think it's been about 20 years almost. Um, and Guinness set this up to allow the brewers to kind of create new beers, to invigorate any of the old iconic classics. But the brewery itself in Baltimore, this was the site of Maryland's first legal distillery after Prohibition ended. And they have two main systems there. They got a 100 hectoliter brew house, which they're using for national distribution for items such as Guinness Blonde. There's another one, it's Game Day Ale, I think is what I can't remember because it's kind of brand new. Guinness Blonde is the big one that they brew out there, and there's a third one that they're going to start brewing out there. It's going to be a lime and sea salt type of brew. I'm going to guess it's going to be probably a sour of some type. They didn't have too much details because it's forthcoming next summer. But apparently it is one that came back not one, not twice, but 3 times on what they use for the 10-barrel system, which they use to brew all their small batch and one-off brews that they sell there in the tap room. A lot of the beers that they make, you're not going to be able to get anywhere. So if, when you go there, that may be your only option to ever taste it or even get it. But what we got here for today, we're going to go ahead, pardon me, and we're going to go ahead and fire up the beer cam, and we're going to check it out. Like I said, I've rambled on enough. Let's get to the beer at hand. You didn't necessarily come here for a Guinness history, but we're going to be drinking a chocolate mint stout. This is aged in Kentucky Bourbon Barrels. It's a limited edition barrel aged stout that's brewed with dried mint leaves, and it's aged in Kentucky Bourbon Barrels, and then it's conditioned with pure cocoa. This guy, while it's not an imperial as we've come to know and love, but it clocks in at a hefty 10.8 ABV. And as I learned on the tour this past weekend, the barrel aging process typically will add about 3, maybe 4% to the final beer that comes out when they finish the initial batching. So for Guinness to do with their bourbon barrels, this is their 4th year of doing these. Guinness is part of the major conglomerate of Diageo. They own pretty much anything and everything that you can think of. You come up with the liquor, come up with the beer, they have their hands in it in some way, shape, or form. But the one thing that they do for the bourbon is they produce bullet Kentucky bourbon, so they have easy access to those bourbon barrels. And we wouldn't really, I guess, expect that chocolate and mint would be a great combination for these beers. But supposedly these flavors are going to interact with the bourbon, and it's going to give us something really bold and complex that's coming in here. And we're supposed to get the mint is supposed to be bright, and we're going to get a dark, complex chocolate from the oak, from the beer barrels. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy cracked open. If I can get my thing to open. There we go. So right there's a big whiff of chocolate that I can tell. We'll go ahead and get it a pour. Get that all set up. Boom. Set that off to the side. So we got somewhat of the iconic, not so much of the head. So we'll go ahead and give Smith. So definitely do taste the chocolate, or not chocolate, I haven't tasted anything yet, but the smell of the chocolate overtones. Not really getting too much whiff of a mint that's coming out of there, but we're getting a good bit of chocolate. So we're going to go ahead and give it a sip, and we're going to check how it is. Hopefully it's not going to be disgusting. Sounds great. It's like hopefully drinking a thin mint. So I definitely get more of the chocolate I get the oak from the bourbon barrels. Still trying to, I guess, find the mint in there. I can smell it now a little bit more, but I guess we'll kind of check it out. We do have that nice dark ruby red color that we get out of the Guinness. Guinness is not actually a dark black, but it is kind of a false pretense there. It is a very deep ruby red. So if you ever hold up and kind of put a flashlight behind it, you'll see it's actually more of a red color than it is of black. Still, I get a little bit of the mint, but we're not. I'm getting more of the chocolate and the oak from the bourbon. Not a bad thing. I guess let's kind of breathe in a little bit and talk a little bit. Getting a little bit of the mint. It's not overpowering, which I guess was my fears that it was going to be really overpowerful on there, but I kind of feel in the back side of the throat after notes. And there's a little bit of mint now that I've had a few more sips out of this. So it's actually not a bad beer. Very smooth. Definitely very drinkable. Yeah, I like that. I definitely recommend it. This one is going to be kind of tough if you are going to be looking for it, because as it is coming out of the Guinness Brewery, and it came out of the with the smaller, it's not widely available. I think if I recall, it's Maryland, obviously all of Maryland, DC, Northern Virginia gets it. Delaware here, we're not that big, so it's not too hard to distribute to all this whole. South Jersey and Philly. Philly will get it too. Good news if you're in the area and you can't find it there, the brewery, it's not too far. It's another reason why they set up in Baltimore, because they have so much of a population within a 3-hour distance with all those major cities of Philly and Baltimore. Baltimore's right there. DC, Alexandria, Annapolis, even New York is not too far of a stretch in connection with that. So, if you do happen to go down there, highly recommend it. They have food on site. Stop in the tap room, take the tour. Some of the brews, as I said, you're going to find in there. Definitely stuff you're never going to find again. And they are wild and experimental. I think last time when we were in there before, the wife, it was a hibiscus something, but I remember it was brewed with hibiscus. Again, something you would think it's going to be any good. Actually, was not too bad with that. So, as usual, there is our other part to this that, we're going to bring out. We've got we're going to do that side. There we go. We've got our finishing move for tonight's gaming during Call of Duty. We're kind of in debate if we're staying with Call of Duty with the Friday night guys, or we're going to move on to Halo, Battlefield. We're still trying to see. But for tonight, at least for this weekend, and for maybe next weekend or so, we are definitely still on Call of Duty. So tonight's finishing moves are going to be brought by the shock stick. So nothing like taking down your enemies with a nice stun to the gut, take you down. So again, I thank you for tuning in, watching. Hopefully you learned a little bit about Guinness, some surprise facts in there that you got out of it, and the chocolate mint stout, definitely good. It's not overpowering on the mint, more of the chocolate and the oakiness from the bourbon barrels that we tasted in there. So again, I thank you all for tuning in, and as we have said before, here's to poning and not getting pwned. And if you're going to, at least you got a beer in your hand. So I thank you guys, and we'll catch you next week. Later.